Check it out. This is DJ Michael Watts, and you're here with us at Anarchy TV.
DJ Michael 5000 Watts, it's good to have you. I guess I'm going to just go right in. How did you get your name, Michael 5000 Watts?
I got my name Michael 5000 Watts when I started doing radio. My regular DJ name is Michael Watts, right? That's what I use. The 5000 came when I started doing commercial radio. They tried to get me to change my name. I refused to change my name. So I had a good friend by the name of Lester, and he added the number 5000 in the middle of it, right? And I just kept it from that point.
5 things that you can't live without.
5 things I can't live without. Number 1, I can't live without my kids. Number 2, I can't live without my music, right? Number 3, I can't live without my wife, you know. Number 4, I can't live without talking to my dad. And I gotta guess number 5 again, I still can't live without my music.
So what is the motto or the advice that you live by, if you had to wrap it up in a nutshell, just one thing?
Don't limit yourself. That's the advice I give you, man. Just like, no matter what you do, don't limit yourself.
What inspired the birth of Swishahouse?
I gotta say, the Swishahouse was inspired by DJ Screw. You know, back in the 90s when he was doing his slow down mixtapes, they were doing them for the South Side. All the North Side guys, we love slow down music, but there was nothing in the mixtapes that represented us in it. So I first started doing the mixes for the North Side guys that had talent, that wanted to rap but loved slow down music. That's how I started doing it, and then I just evolved it into a more of a neutral commercial thing for everyone to enjoy, no matter what part of the city or town or other part of the earth that you're from.
As one of the founders of Swishahouse, how has the transition been from day one to today?
You know, as being one of the founders of Swishahouse, I realized that music has vastly evolved from the 90s to this point, right? And we had to evolve as well, you know, because at the end of the day, what makes us great is being able to give you something that you can relate to, right? And every generation, right, the fan base has changed, the music production changes, so we have to change our production style as well. You know, one of the biggest changes that I've seen since the 90s to this point is a lot of the hits in the 90s and the early 2000s, they were pretty up-tempo, like 85 beats per minute and faster. Nowadays, a lot of the hits are made 65 BPM or slower. So that's one of the biggest changes I've heard in music, you know, since we first started.
And touching on that point, how do you feel about where music has gone? Because you have your main hip hop rap genre, but now you have like these subgenres like trap soul, for example. How do you feel about where music is going today? And what would you say to those people who feel that maybe they don't like where hip hop is going?
Well, one thing about hip hop is always evolving, even from the beginning of time. And sometimes people have to realize there are certain points, there are certain eras of hip hop that each generation was in. You know, if you get the 80s or 90s generation, they were into the breakdancing, right? Then if you get the Houston generation, the 90s to 2000, they was in the screw era, right? And then you get the generations that are today, they're in the trap era right now. So sometimes people would say, well, when it evolves out of the realm that they were in or their generation, they say, well, I don't like it. Well, you don't have to like it. It's not your generation. You know what I mean? This right here is the new generation. So, of course, the average 35-year-old might not like what the 18-year-old is playing right now. It's just no different from when you were a kid. When you were playing your music, more than likely your parents were saying, hey, what is that trash you're listening to? That's not real music. Because it's not their generation, it's not their time. Every generation evolves. Every generation is different, you know? And, you know, just as my point, I learned to accept what it is. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm a DJ first, man. So my job is to make you happy, right? So I have to accept the music, regardless if I like this or not. If this is what you're into, I'm playing for you. This is my job.
If we were to turn on your iPod right now and confiscate it from you, what 5 artists, top 5 songs would we see on your recently played list?
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm weird. Don't you know I don't have any music in my phone? When I drive, I don't listen to music. When I drive, I think. I just sit around there and think and I think and dream when I drive. So I don't really have music in there. Sometimes if I do listen to music, I might listen to the radio. But when I get back to the studio, that's when I'm hearing all the music. You know, that's when I'm listening to I'm listening to Dolph right now, right? I'm listening to Dolph. I'm listening to his album right now, and I'm listening to this new guy named Rip the Ruler. I'm listening to him right now, you know. But it's like for me, it's crazy. I don't have a top 5. My ear for music is vast. I might be listening to disco one day. I might listen to trap one day. I might be listening to funk one day. You know what I mean? I might be listening to screw chop one day. You know, so I'm not limited to artists or a certain thing at all. You know, at all.
What advice would you give to musicians looking to do more work with DJs like yourself?
I think this right here, this is advice for any musician, DJs. If you're looking for more work on any level, right, make sure that you get credit for your work, and don't be scared to expose your talent. You know, when you're doing work for someone, make sure you get credit for your work, because that's what gets you extra gigs. If you're playing the bass line on somebody's track or something like that, make sure you get credit for your work, because when somebody hears that and they want to know who played it, you know, if they want to know who played it, right, they need to be able to look on those credits and see that you're the one who played that, and they're going to be able to contact you so they can hire you. Another thing too is just make sure if you have management, make sure you have a credible manager in the realm of what you're doing. Because every manager is not good for every situation. Some managers are good for placements, right? Some managers could get you good song placements. Some managers can get you shows. And there are some managers that can't get you anywhere. And one thing that I feel when it comes down to management, while we're on this subject, right? If your manager is asking you to pay them right now, if your manager is asking you to pay them, well, you're not to the level where you need management right now. You need to wait. Because at the end of the day, you want a manager that believes in you enough to go out there and find work for you guys. Because at the end of the day, if you're paying your manager, he does not believe enough in you to work for you. When it comes down to artists, right, and publicity or exposure, right, you know, of course, not all publicity is good publicity, or all exposure is good exposure, right? You got to realize, what direction do you want to go in, right? So if you're a gospel singer, right? If your goal is to be a gospel singer, of course you can't get on a track with someone that's cursing out the world. You can't do that. You can't expose yourself on that level and then say, hey, that's not me, right? Who everybody heard cursing out everyone. This is me right here. So you got to think about, what direction do you want to go in your career, right? If you want to be a rock singer, right, you got to do things that expose you to the audience that you want to be in tune to. I want to be a part of. What is your fan base? What are they into? You know, and work on exposing yourself in the avenues to where you want to be at. You know, if you want to be doing dubstep and trap, you can't do dubstep and trap in the fucking hip hop club like that. You know what I mean? That's not your crowd. That's not going to help you get into the direction where you want to be at.
What current projects do you have on the way right now?
Oh wow. Let me see here what I did. Current project that I have done. I did this project for Mac Dre. For everybody that doesn't know who Mac Dre is, right? He's one of the West Coast old school legends, right? This man here was like, the whole thing about the hyphy scene and stuff like that. They were the endorsers of that. So he's like one of the biggest artists on the West Coast. Right, he's gone now, but we did a greatest hits for him, and I did a Swishahouse remix to it. So for all you slow down music fans, that's one of my newest ones. I'm also doing another West Coast project with Burner. Burner was signed with Wiz Khalifa, right? And I listened to his music from my manager Ghost Toes, right? And I told him, I said, hey man, I want to do a project for him, right? And it came out pretty dope. So that's those are my two biggest projects that I'm doing commercially this year. And also for all y'all Swishahouse fans, we're working on a Day Hell Broke Loose Part 4. Yeah, we're working on one right now. So hopefully we should have this project done before 2017. And our goal on this right here, we're going to add the new along with some of the original members along with this project. So it should be pretty big.
So what would you say is next for Michael 5000 Watts?
I think the thing that's next for me, I will be doing, I'm not sure, man. It's like I really don't want to leave the music alone, but I just want to use my connections that I built in the game, just to keep exposing good talent, just the way I've been before, man. Just to take it up a notch, because I believe I believe in this, man. There has to be someone that has to have a genuine interest in good music to help us bring new artists to the forefront, so we can have more good music to come out there. Because I realize the way that this music industry is now, it's really political, and it's not like how it was back in the day, where there was someone that had some genuineness about it, where there was someone that wasn't scared to break good music nowadays, and nowadays it's kind of hard to find someone that has the power to break good music, that actually has the ears to help you grow. So I just want to keep doing that and help keep exposing the new music, and keep supporting hip hop as it is.
How do you feel about how the world has been inspired by the chopped and screwed movement?
It's funny when I think about how the world has been inspired by chopped and screwed music. I think this is one of the main reasons why a lot of this music nowadays is produced at that trap speed. Because back in the day, with the big screwed and slowed down music phenomenon, right? Everything that we slowed down is at the same speed as the trap music right now. If you notice right now, a lot of this music has the low frequency bass, right? Where did the low frequency bass come from? When we slowed down the records, it dropped down the frequency of the bass. Now people are actually producing their music like that. And then you hear nowadays people actually putting chopping in their commercial songs. Where did that come from? That came from us, right? Even with the people dragging their voices in it, that came from us. If it wasn't for chopped and screwed music, they wouldn't be doing that shit right now. Wouldn't. It was all inspired right here in Texas.